Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to be doing part 2 to my Get to Know Me video. All of you guys really enjoyed the first part, and so I thought that I should answer the rest of the questions because there were so many of you guys who asked different questions, and I kind of only sort of answered a few of them because I gave like really long answers to everything. So I wanted to do the rest, or as many as I could. I also asked you guys on Instagram, so I also have those questions too. So let's go ahead. I'm a little scared. This is like the personal versions. You guys can also ask me makeup related questions, but I'm going to do those for a different video to come. Kushbu Patel asked on YouTube, how old are you? I am going to be 26 in May. Okay. Then she also asked, what professional background did you come from before you became a YouTube guru? So I started to do YouTube when I was in college. So I was at that point a fashion merchandising major. That's what I graduated with. And then I worked at Abercrombie & Fitch before I did this full time. Let's see. Then she also asked, in a lot of Indian families, they're strict about career choice rules, and since your path is very out of the ordinary, how did your family feel about the career path you have chosen? At first, I didn't tell them anything when I was just starting out doing YouTube, like when I was in college, because I really didn't know if I would continue to do it. I didn't really know like what it was going to be, but when it started to actually blow up, then I let them know, and they were really excited. They didn't really understand what it was at first, but then when my mom watched a few of my videos, she kind of started to understand what YouTube really was. Then she was really happy about it, and everybody in my family knows that I do it, and they love it. Like, my family is definitely not the kind to have strict rules and regulations about anything, so, I mean, they really like it. R. Onzel on YouTube also asked, do you plan on making your own makeup line? I hope that happens one day. If it does, I would be so stoked, and I can't even wait. Like, I really, really hope that does happen. Priyanka Bass 6 asked on YouTube, what are the things about a man that impresses you the most? What impresses me? I'm actually not very easy to impress, I will say. I feel like the normal stuff that people think are so flattering, like, don't impress me. But I think I like men who kind of have it together and who just sort of like know what to do for you, like what makes you feel good. Like, that kind of stuff really impresses me. Like, you know, if you've been working on a really long day and he knows that, you know, your favorite restaurant is right around the corner, like, the type of guy who's going to take that initiative to be like, okay, well, meet me here. I really want to take you there. I know you're, like, probably really hungry and, like, dying to eat something good. Like, I guess the type of guy who goes above and beyond and can think outside the box and who wants to, like, do stuff like that for his girl, like, that really impresses me. I also really like guys who like, are really street smart. Like, I think being book smart is really great, that's fine, but I find that most people who are really book smart are not street smart, and I feel like that's kind of what you need to survive in the real world. So, like, guys who kind of, like, know where to do things, where to go to get things done, like, how to get it done, who have, like, connections, and who sort of have, like, figured out their path, like, that's really, really attractive to me. Like, if I come to him with a problem, like, hey, I don't know where to go to get this done, like, what do you think? I love it when they're like, oh, well, what about this? What about this? And even if it's not something that's, like, totally up their line, like, somebody who just sort of, like, knows things that are out of the ordinary. What else? I also really find it impressive when a man has sort of figured out his path and, like, kind of isn't afraid of commitment, and who isn't afraid of, like, being with you, and who sort of, like, knows what he wants, because I find that a lot of guys sometimes don't, and they're really scared to, like, get to that next level, or they're really scared of, like, figuring out, like, where to go from there. But a guy who's, like, confident enough to say, hey, this is what I want, like, I know it, I'm gonna go get it. Like, I think that's really, really impressive. Okay, Nathira Parker Personal on YouTube asked, have you ever dealt with a breakup? If so, how did you deal with it? Yes, of course, I've dealt with a breakup. I've dealt with a few breakups, and honestly, I don't, you know, they're really weird, because I think the breakup that was the worst for me was probably a few years ago, and it's really interesting because I'm usually the one who, like, does the breaking up, as bad as that sounds, but if I'm with somebody, like, I care a lot about that person, so even if I don't want to be with that person romantically anymore, it doesn't mean that I don't care about them as a human being. And so I hate hurting people's feelings, but for me, I think what I always tend to do is that before I want to break up with somebody, or, like, if I know that I'm at that level where I don't want to be with this person anymore for, like, whatever reason, I really think long and hard about it, like, months usually, really figure it out, and then talk to that person about it, and by then that person's already kind of figured out that it's probably not going to work for whatever reason. It's just, I'm not the type of person to just make a rash decision ASAP and be like, okay, I'm done. Like, I never want to speak to you again. And it's actually done. And for it to actually last, like, yes, I get angry and I'll say those like types of things, but in order for it to actually be a lasting decision, like, I think about it a lot beforehand, and I like sort of like, I'm sure that's what I want to do when I actually like have that sort of conversation. So I feel like that's why, like, when it actually happens, the dealing with it part isn't as bad, because I've already sort of figured that out in my head, like, for months previously. If that sounds like, I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound like crazy. Okay, then Ginny913 asked, if you could be a makeup artist for any television show or celebrity, who would it be and why? It would for sure be Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because of this reason. Every girl in that show looks so different. Like, if you think about Kim versus Khloe, totally different features, totally different skin color. If you look at Kendall and Kylie, like, so different. So, and then even Kris Jenner, like, she's older. So I feel like, one, they're beautiful. Two, they all look different. So it would be really like challenging to actually do something like that on a daily basis. Like, if you do one person all the time, you get used to it. But it's such a large family. Like, each person's gonna kind of have their version of what they really like. So that would be amazing. Okay, then Aksa I asked, do you have any siblings? Yes, I have an older sister. She is 7 years older than me. And then she also asked, do you have a boyfriend? I do not have a boyfriend. Okay, Miss Nadia 13 asked, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? I think if I could choose, it would probably be LA, because the weather is amazing all the time and I really like warm weather. So that would probably be my #1 place. And she also asked, how often do you cut your hair? I cut my hair every 3 to 4 months. Sometimes when I feel like my hair isn't growing out as fast, I'll wait 4 months, but normally every 3 months. Okay, then Beauty and the Geek asked, what's some advice for someone thinking about going to cosmetology school? I think that you need to really decide what you're going to cosmetology school for. If you're trying to be a makeup artist, that is probably not the best place for you to go to. I would go to a makeup school if you plan on getting professionally trained. If you're going to be an esthetician, then that actually makes sense. So really think about it, because just having that degree in your back pocket is not always going to help you, because for makeup specifically, it's very self-taught. Everybody has a very different way of doing it, and a degree is fine. Like, I went to, you know, so-and-so school in Hollywood, it was great, whatever, but that's not that important in the makeup industry. Okay, then Fari Pari XO asked, I have noticed a lot of beauty gurus on YouTube getting procedures done, such as nose jobs, lip injections, boob jobs, etc. What are your thoughts on this, if any? I asked because I feel like a lot of young viewers that look up to beauty gurus may be getting a certain message from this. As a beauty guru yourself, I wanted to know your thoughts. Okay. I honestly, so I've noticed that a lot. I don't know about boob jobs, but I've noticed a lot of lip jobs, like lip injections. That's like super obvious to me, because these two corners of your lips like cause this line that goes out. So I think that's super obvious. I can name so many people that have gotten it. Nose jobs as well. But the thing is this, like, I'm the type of person who, if that makes you happy, and if you really think that by having the nose, the lips, or whatever that you currently have, like, really affects your self-esteem or whatever, then do it. Like, for me, you should do what makes you happy. And if your beauty image really does bother you that much, which a lot of people really are affected by that a lot on a daily basis. So if you are and you can afford it and you want to do it and you're okay with the pain and whatever, then I have no problem with it. The thing about being somebody that people look up to is that you're doing this because you love to do it as well, and you weren't probably thinking about the fame or the recognition that goes along with it. And I feel like everybody out there should be able to live their life. Like, who cares? Like, I feel like if you're going really overboard and all of a sudden you start off with a nose job and your entire face has changed, you know, a month later or a few years later, that's really excessive, and that could be, you know, a sign of other problems. But to me, I just feel like, I know that everybody chastises all these celebrities about you're being a bad, you know, idol, and that's not what you should be doing. And I understand that you do have responsibility for in the public eye, but at the same time, like, you're also a real person. And if your neighbor was going out and getting, you know, plastic surgery for every part of her body, like, no one would really care. However, just because this famous person, everybody cares. And that kind of sucks, because your real life shouldn't have to disappear because you're on TV or, you know, on YouTube or whatever, because that's not realistic. Like, all these people who are out there on a daily basis, like, all of a sudden are looked at and are chastised for all these things, and then at the end of the day, we're real people too. So to me, like, if it makes you happy, I would do it. I have no problem with it at all. But for myself, I can't imagine doing it just because the pain. Like, I'm not somebody who can handle pain very well, so I can't imagine doing it for myself. But if it really makes you that happy, then you can do it. Although all my really close friends who've talked about this, I always tell them, like, no, what's wrong with you? Don't think of that. Don't do that. But also, none of them have, like, anything really big that they need to fix. Like, if maybe, I guess, if I had somebody who wanted to get some procedure done because it really would make a giant difference, and I get it, but so far I don't know anybody like that. Okay, then Sapna Patel, also on YouTube, asked, do you get complimented more when you are wearing more of a natural look or a glam look? I think guys think I look better in a natural look because, like, I feel like they all think that I look the exact same whether I'm made up or not. So I think that men, like, prefer that, and I feel like I get a lot more compliments from guys when I look like my normal self and I just have, like, barely anything on. But a glam look, I feel like my female friends really like that and really appreciate that. Like, I have friends who, like, love makeup, so if I wear, you know, if I'm doing a super glam look, like, they'll notice everything, like, oh, I love your contour and your highlight and your lip liner looks amazing, and whatever you've got in the center of your eyelid looks awesome. So I think it just depends. Like, I don't think guys would normally ever really compliment a glam look because that's not really what they're about. So next I'm gonna look on my Instagram to get those questions because I did ask you guys there too. You guys, like, went in. Let's see. Sonia Siddiqui asked, what other brands of lipsticks do you think I should try? I always tend to go for MAC matte lipsticks. I think Kat Von D would be my next recommendation for people who like matte lipsticks because the Longwear lipstick line by them is just amazing, and the formula is so good, the colors are awesome, so that would probably be my recommendation for you. What else? Samri Singh asked, how old are you? I am 26. Aisha Malik asked, what's your weight, height, and age? Oh my goodness. My weight is 110, my height is 5'3", and as I mentioned before, I'm going to turn 26 next month. Donica89 Colho asked, which is your best foundation for blemished Indian skin? That totally depends because blemished skin is one thing, Indian skin is another, and then you also have to take into consideration, like, are you oily, are you dry, are you combo? So, blemished skin in general would require a heavier coverage foundation, so I am recommending the NARS All Day Luminous Foundation to everybody because that one's amazing. If that's not enough for you, then I would try a cream foundation such as Cover FX. They make really good cream foundations, but I wouldn't recommend those to somebody who has really oily skin, so it would kind of depend on that. Pooja2309 asked, I want to ask you, which part of India do you belong to, and can you speak Hindi? I am from Bombay. I was born there and I lived there until I was 10, and yes, I can speak Hindi and I can understand Hindi as well. I think writing and reading is probably a little bit more difficult. Asta La Vista 101 asks, how are you planning on meeting your perfect man? When and have you started? How do you know I don't have one? How am I planning? I mean, I don't know. I'd love it if God could just send him to me. Like, that'd be awesome. If you could just mail him to me, that'd be great. When? I mean, I'd love to, like, have that now. Like, the guy that I, like, know that I'm going to marry. And that tends to be harder than people think because you can be with the perfect person and then somehow it doesn't end up being, like, what you want it to be. Then she also asked, what qualities do you look for in a man? That's a really good question. I'm really excited to answer that one. What qualities do I look for in a man? I look for, one, he has to be a good he has to be a good personality fit for me. So I definitely usually like guys who are more laid back. And I've only really met, like, guys who are not laid back, like, very rarely because most guys are laid back. I like guys who are not lazy. You've got to be active. If this guy, like, has never been to the gym or, like, doesn't ever go and does not know how to pick up any freaking ball and play any sport, like, that's a problem. Like, that's masculine to me and I expect you to be a man. What qualities? What else? I expect you to be intelligent. I think every single guy that I've ever dated has been extremely intelligent. That matters to me a lot because I love to learn. So, especially if they're in a field of work that makes sense to me or that I want to learn about, like, I think it's so awesome if they're passionate about what they do, because then they want to talk about it and they want to teach you, and that's really fun too. But I have to say, certain fields just do not interest me. Like money related fields, I can't handle it. Like I do not have a brain for like finance and like science type things like at all. So I tend to not like guys in those fields either, because that's usually like their forte and it doesn't really make much sense to me. What are the qualities? I do not like mama's boys. That is so important to me. Like that is definitely a deciding factor in the type of man that I'm going to marry. Like I don't want somebody who's going to like constantly like do what his mother says, and like somebody who cannot stand up for anything in life. Like I need somebody who can say like, okay, like I understand where everyone's coming from, but this is what I need to do, and that's really important to me. So that's something that is really interesting, because I feel like I have really been raised like that. Like my dad has always loved law, and like growing up my entire childhood, like whenever I wanted anything or I wanted to do something or like whatever, I'd have to explain why I wanted to do it, like if it was something that required that. Like for example, I remember when I wanted a MacBook and it's such an expensive purchase, and I like wasn't working and I was still in college, and I obviously like couldn't afford that. So I asked my dad for one, and he like asked me to explain to him like why I thought it would help me and like for what reason I want it. So I had to like logically learn how to think and like put two and two together and like really think about if it's important or not. And I sort of learned that my entire life, because I think that I'm able to talk to a person, to listen to them and to respect them, but if I think that they're wrong, or if what they're doing is like absolutely wrong, like I can stand up for it. Like it doesn't matter if it's my parents or not. Like I'm the type of person who, like, older people need to be respected for sure, like they are our elders. However, just because you're older does not mean that you're absolutely right all the time. And even with my mother, like we have that relationship where she'll say or do something and it could really make me angry or really upset me, or it could be something that like really affects my normal life, and I can talk to her and tell her like, okay, like I understand where you're coming from, I see why you think that, but I don't agree with that. Like this is not how I want to do it, and you know, blah blah. And she respects that, and sometimes it's harder. Like sometimes we will fight about it. A lot of the times we fight about it actually, because I get like really emotional about stuff like that. But I definitely need somebody who can stand up for things, because if he can't stand up for something in his own life, like he'll never stand up for me, or you know, you or whoever he's gonna be with. And that's important, because I feel like the person that you are going to be with is going to be your life partner. So I guess my next thing would be like, it has to be somebody who I know is loyal to the core, like loyal to me, and a loyal person like overall. Like I don't want somebody who's going to say I'm loyal to you, babe, but like everybody else, go screw them. Like not something like that either, but somebody who is a loyal person. And I think that I've gotten a sense for who those people are pretty well. It's pretty easy to judge, but somebody who is very loyal, somebody who's got a backbone. I know this is going to sound really weird, but I like guys who know stuff out of the box, because even if a guy is in like whatever field, like computer science or whatever, I like somebody who knows like stuff outside of his field and is not just like, I just know this little segmented part of the world and nothing else, because that's like not how the world works. And so I definitely want somebody who can who can figure it out and who kind of like knows what to do. Also, somebody who can fix things is very attractive to me. I'm not expecting a carpenter husband or something like that, but just somebody who like can do something. Like my light bulb shattered, what do I do? Like somebody who can fix it. Or my plumbing is broken, like can you help me like figure out what I'm supposed to do? Like I don't know, like I think that also comes from my father. Like he's very handy, he can fix anything. And he wasn't like that before, and after moving here he had to learn, because you can't always like call somebody for every little thing that happens. So he learned his way around and he figured it out so well, and that impresses me on a daily basis. Like I know that anything that's gonna happen or anything that happens, like I know somebody who can fix it like immediately. I also really like guys who are non-judgmental. Like that's really important. I know that sounds crazy, because I feel like more women are judgmental than men, but trust me, I've met my fair share of very judgmental people who like have an idea, or very judgmental guys who like have an idea of what they think is correct and how you should react to certain situations and, you know, whatever they see in life. But I don't like that. Like for some reason I feel like it's not very nice. It's not like the way I want to live my life. Like I knew somebody who every little thing he would notice and he would just like comment about it, like, oh my god, like blah blah blah. And it wasn't like ever a joke, it was like real. And I don't find that very nice. I don't like guys who are judgmental. I feel like they should be relax, chill, kind of like, okay, this person doesn't want to wear any clothes and go outside, that's their problem, who cares, you know? And for me, like, loyalty is huge. Like, that, I've got to know that when you're out and about, like, doing whatever you want to do, like, you're not doing anything wrong. And that comes with time, but you'd be surprised. I say this for a reason, because I think that guys can be very different around their friends and their, like, people, as opposed to when they're with you. And I need somebody who's got a good head on their shoulders and can, like, figure out right from wrong. Okay, this is what my friends want to do. They're all single. That's fine, but I'm not going to get involved in that situation. So I need somebody who, like, does not do, like, gross things on the side, and who can make decisions, and who respects the boundaries that we've set, because sometimes there are certain things that you might like to do when you're single, and when you're together, like, that doesn't really fly anymore. And if you and your guy have talked about it, like, somebody's not going to lie to you, and who's going to respect those boundaries and be man enough to say, like, I'm not going to do that today, like, I can't do that, you know? I cannot stand it when guys are just, like, go with the flow. Like, whatever my friend says, I'm just gonna go do it because we're just in a group and it looks dumb to, like, say no, you know? I can't handle it, because I'm definitely the type of person who can say no if I don't want to do something, and it doesn't matter to me, like, what people think of me. So even if you think that I'm, like, retarded or, like, stupid for, like, not doing something, well, that's me, and I, like, don't want to make that decision. I don't want to hurt the guy that I'm with, and I respect, you know, those types of things. So that's important to me. Besides that, I think I've answered pretty much all of your questions. Thank you guys so much for asking all of them. I'm really excited for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave me any comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.